the lush and secluded Virgin Islands, there's a private island that's shrouded in mystery. Its name is Little St. James, and it belonged to a wealthy and enigmatic man named Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein was known for his lavish lifestyle and his connections to powerful figures in politics and business. But there's something else that sets him apart from other billionaires, something that's been whispered about in hushed tones by those who knew him best. For years, rumors have circulated that Epstein had been involved in the sexual exploitation of underage girls. His reputation as a philanthropist and a science philanthropist had helped to shield him from scrutiny. But now, new evidence has come to light that suggests Epstein's crimes may have continued well into recent times. When a parent in Palm Beach, Florida, courageously came forward to report that Jeffrey Epstein had sexually abused her 14-year-old daughter, it set off the first investigation into Epstein's horrific crimes, which shocked the world in 2005. This revelation marked the beginning of a long and difficult journey towards justice for Epstein's victims. After quickly opening an investigation into Epstein's actions, law enforcement found a troubling pattern of exploitation and abuse. Further victims came forward, and it was discovered that Epstein's victim network covered multiple nations, with young girls being the main target. Epstein was eventually put on trial in 2008 due to a mountain of evidence against him. Setting up a minor for prostitution and soliciting a prostitute were among the accusations levied against him. The world watched as he was held accountable for his actions, and the verdict of the trial shocked everyone and made many doubt the fairness of the legal system. Regardless of how serious his crimes were, the fact that Epstein was given a remarkably light sentence, just 18 months in prison, confirmed that the wealthy could avoid justice. But the injustice didn't stop there. During his time in prison, Epstein was given an unbelievable chance of work release, which allowed him to be released from prison 6 days a week for a total of 12 hours each day. Preferential treatment of this kind went against basic fairness ideals and increased public resentment. After barely 13 months, Epstein was placed on probation and then released. Locals on the U.S. Virgin Islands claimed that Epstein brought young girls to the Little St. James frequently, despite being a registered sex offender. 2 employees at the local airstrip reported seeing Epstein board his private plane with girls as young as 16 on multiple occasions between January 2018 and June 2019. The employees noted that Epstein appeared to be flaunting his travels with young girls, as he would exit his helicopter in full view of the airport and board his private jet with girls carrying shopping bags from designer labels. The former air traffic controller and another employee at the airstrip both reported feeling disgusted by Epstein's travels with young girls, but they did not report their suspicions to law enforcement because they assumed that someone else was already doing so. Epstein's plane was always parked right in front of the control tower on Little St. James, and his movements to and from the United States were not subjected to any special precautions by law enforcement. As the evidence against Epstein mounted, it became clear that he had been able to evade justice for far too long. But the truth finally came to light, and those who had been victimized by his crimes demanded accountability. But as the investigation continued, it was clear that justice would not be denied. The truth came out, and those who had been wronged finally had the courage to speak out.
I was only 17 years old. I was a little girl. It took me a long time to break free from his mind control and abuse. It wasn't a clean break either. I still have flashbacks. It still hurts. And like I said, I am still scared.
Just take your underwear off and get on top. And I said I didn't want to. And he, very forcefully kind of brought me into the table, and I just did what he told me to do. I was really scared. I didn't necessarily think that he was, going to, he raped me. Forcefully raped me, but knew exactly what he was doing. And I don't think cared. What hurts even more so is that if I wasn't afraid to come forward sooner, then maybe he wouldn't have done it to other girls. I feel really guilty. To this day, I feel really guilty.
He asked me to take my clothes off. I was trembling. I was so scared, and I took my clothes off. He began to touch me aggressively. and it quickly turned into an assault. I distinctly remember him smiling and enjoying the fact that he was doing this horrible thing to me that obviously terrified me and was violating me, but he was somehow getting off on that.
As the investigation progressed and more evidence was uncovered, including allegations of sex trafficking, it became clear that Epstein's crimes were more sinister than anyone had imagined. But the victims of this story remained steadfast in their pursuit of justice. They knew that the truth had to be uncovered, no matter how painful or uncomfortable that it was. After years of hiding, Jeffrey Epstein's terrible secret was finally revealed in 2019 by those who were determined to bring justice to the innumerable victims who had suffered at his hands. The quest for justice for Epstein's victims resurfaced in July 2019 as a renewed investigation into his crimes sent shockwaves across society. Epstein was arrested once more, this time on federal accusations related to the sex trafficking of children. The world observed as Epstein was held accountable for his deeds and how his arrest changed the course of the struggle for justice. The fact that their voices have finally been heard after years of suffering in silence brought comfort to the victims. Before Epstein could go on trial and possibly reveal the full extent of his network, tragedy struck in August 2019, and he was found dead in his jail cell, with the cause of death determined to be suicide by hanging. However, the investigation into Epstein's crime did not end there. Prosecutors kept looking for possible co-conspirators who may have aided and abetted his terrible acts. For the victims who had bravely come forward to tell their stories, Epstein's death left many unanswered questions and an incomplete sense of justice. The victims faced their own personal challenges and obstacles along the way. Some survivors struggle with PTSD and other trauma related to their experiences with Epstein. Others face pushback from family and friends who are hesitant to believe their stories or support their quest for justice. But they remained resilient and determined, and they refused to be silenced or discouraged. They knew that the truth would be uncovered and that justice may be served, no matter how long it took or how difficult the journey may be.